Oh yeah, baby! We reached 2000! Yep, possibly you're wondering, why do I need the same movement for different characters? And possibly I wondered the same before. But this time I have a project. As you know, I love animation, but I also love F1. Ayrton can be my witness. Even for a while, I was thinking about the idea of making an F1 YouTube channel. I already see all the broadcasts of the weekend of Formula 1. Then I realized that the least thing I like to do is talking, so possibly that wouldn't work very much. Possibly my F1 channel would look like this. Hello guys, welcome to Formula 1 with Goose. We had race this weekend and it was good. Then I thought about why not putting together animation and Formula 1, my two big passions. Then I thought, why not creating an animated short about the race? Fantastic idea. But as we all know, animation takes a long time. To do this, I need to make the process as automatic as possible. Of course, I don't want to use an IA. Then I thought about how to simplify the process in Procreate Dreams. I honestly don't think that this is the main function of Procreate Dreams, but I found this way and I plan to use it. Now, let's go to the process. Hello everyone, I'm Goose and this is Wiseguss illustration. Of course, I can't just draw every character from scratch every time. So I need to make everything as interchangeable as possible. I take Ferrari's arm, put Mercedes' arm, and it just works. I take Mercedes' helmet and put Red Bull's, and it just works. Everything starts with the different parts of the character that I'm going to assemble as if it was a puzzle. The body, arms in different poses, helmets, even the visor, everything is separate. Everything done for the 20 drivers of the grid. Starting with this little character that I then turned into this one, and from which I took all the parts. You want to know how I created all these 20 characters, and then how I turned them into all these front views? And better not starting everything from scratch? Let me know in the comments below, and I can make a video about it. Let's reduce the duration of every one of these frames. By selecting all of the frames and reducing one of them, you can see how all of them reduce their duration. And if I touch the screen with one finger, all of them are going to be grouped together. You didn't see that coming, did you? All these pieces that are made in Procreate have the exact size and position to fit perfectly to each other. And simply by exchanging them, I can create the sensation of movement for one character. But this is not all I want. I want, for instance, to create some bouncing effect on the characters to make them look more alive. I will need to do all these extra movements every time for each one of the characters. And I think you already know I'm not willing to do that. To make the process easier and more organized, I'm going to rename each one of the pieces for each one of the characters in exactly the same way. Up to this point, each one of the pieces is a separate item that I can modify freely without affecting any of the other pieces. However, I need the freedom to modify each one of the pieces individually, as well as everything as a whole. So the next step in the process is to group all the pieces together. Once grouped and with the group selected, I can modify the size to make it fit inside the space. By expanding the group, I can still move each one of the pieces. Let's make the first modification. Let's change George's helmet for Kimi's. And also we can include the visor. We have 3 ways to modify each one of the pieces. I will use warp to animate the helmet shrinking down. With move and scale, I'm going to make him shrug and his arms bounce a bit. I created this movement in an object, which is a problem for me. Why, you may be wondering? When creating the movement to an object, this movement cannot be transferred to another object. What? Look how the Mercedes arms move, but the Red Bull arms stay still. And this is one of the biggest secrets. Groups in Procreate Dreams are powerful. But with all great powers comes a great responsibility. Sorry, wrong line. With this power we have a big disadvantage. It is that inside a group we only have one available method to move the objects. Let's use move and scale in the group to make the whole character bounce. Remember that each animation that you did inside an object is going to get together to the animation of the group. It's time to go back to the arms problem. Trivia time! Knowing what you know now, how do you think we can make the Mercedes arms move along with the Red Bull arms? You have only 10 seconds to answer. Well, more if you pause the video. Did you find the answer? Of course, the answer was groups. We're going to group the Mercedes arms along with the Red Bull arms, and we apply the animation to the group. Now, every object we put inside this group is going to keep the same animation. Each object we put inside a group is going to assume the same properties of the group, including size, position, and of course, animation. We'll do the same with the helmet. I want each part of the helmet to move independently. Even the eyes should move over the visor. For this, the eyes and the visor are inside one group. And then I'm going to group this group with the helmet. So the helmet group is a group of two objects along with one separate object that I can move as a whole, or I can move each part independently. This gives me a lot of control over the movements I want to create in this group. Highly important tip. Every object expands, shrinks, or rotates from the anchor. So every time you make any of these movements, make sure your anchor is in the correct place so you get the movement that you want to make. In this action, the whole body reacts to the movement of the head. The whole body shrinks and then bounces, and the visor goes down and then up. Some movements can be very sudden, so we're going to create a smear frame. We see how this arm is down, and suddenly it bends up. This smear frame is going to join the two positions into one quick movement. And yes, as you imagined, I can change this quickly to the colors of each one of the teams. Not as simple as I would like to, but it works. Inside the object in the draw mode, I create one layer over the existing layer. This new layer is going to be a clipping mask. Then I can color freely on this layer. To end this Frankenstein animation, I want to add a little bounce on the arm at the end of the movement. And of course, I want to add this little bounce to each one of the teams. So for that, I'm going to create the animation inside a... Say it? You want to say it. Say it. Of course, inside a group. Of course, not all movements are so easy to copy. One of the movements required moving the head up and down. And for that, I needed to use warp. But as I told you before, you cannot use warp inside a group. So this specific movement, I had to repeat it for all 20 drivers. But because I did it once, I only needed to basically repeat all the movements in the same exact point. And I had to do this in just one keyframe, so it was not so difficult to do. And now possibly you're wondering how this process can be useful for you. Of course, maybe you're asking how this process can be useful for me, but maybe you want to create your own animated story. but you know that this is a long and very complex process. Possibly this could be the step you were missing to be able to create your dream animated story. Obviously, no AI. This is for animation lovers. The software I use is Procreate Dreams. Possibly this is not the software created for this kind of animation, but I found a way to tweak everything to make what I wanted it to do. I really hope this video was useful for you and that you found a new way to create your animations in a simpler way.
If you like the video, I invite you to like it, to subscribe, but most importantly, share it with someone who can find this content useful.
See you in the next video. Adios.